as well. That's it. Update story. Our stories from tonight were from the courts to the classrooms to the cultural stage to the diaspora. All point to the same truth: democracy, legacy, and community only hold when institutions are strong and when people remain connected, even if it's across distance and difference. I'm Jodi-Ann, and on behalf of the entire CVM production team, thank you for watching Lead Story. Have a fantastic evening.
Need to estimate your duty, perform a track and trace, search for a declaration.
Then download the Jamaica Customs mobile app today. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
Thanks for joining us for CVM News at noon. It's Tuesday, January 27, 2026. I'm Amoy Harriet. Up first, longtime Jamaican media personality Walter Charles Bob Clark, a beloved broadcaster whose voice resonated across airwaves for more than 5 decades, has died. Clark, renowned for his Sunday show Memories on Ari FM and honored with the Order of Distinction for his contributions to radio and culture, passed away early Tuesday at the Port Maria Hospital in St. Mary. He was 75 years old. Now, Mayor of Hanover, Sheridan Samuels, has accused the government of failing to distribute supplies that were intended for hurricane victims across the parish. Speaking with CVM News, Mayor Samuels said that since the passage of Hurricane Melissa, little to nothing has been done by the government to assist affected residents, particularly those in Western Hanover. He added that if not for the goodwill of private donors, many hurricane victims in the parish would have been left stranded.
It is really poor because the situation is that grand announcements have been made, and when these grand announcements made, it's there for a little while, and within 9 days you don't hear anything about it again.
Now, a monument is to be erected at Civil Heritage Park in St. Anne to be built by the government of Ghana as a symbol of the deepening diplomatic ties between both countries. The announcement was made on Monday by Ghana's Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeta Ablakwa shortly before his departure from the island. Both governments say this is only the beginning of a far broader partnership now taking shape, one expected to deliver tangible gains across multiple sectors and drive national developments in both countries.
And what has come up since my visit is the need to formalize a defense cooperation agreement. Our Ghana Armed Forces and the Jamaican Defense Forces are working so well, and it is not acceptable that we don't have a formalized defense cooperation agreement. So that has been added to today's agenda. We quickly want to see a defense cooperation agreement formalized. Yesterday, we pledged that Ghana will erect a monument at the Seville Park, following the very, very strong and irresistible ties. It was a very emotional and moving experience yesterday, and we think that it is time to have a monument.
Now, the Jamaica Fire Brigade has announced the launch of their fire management software as of January 23, 2026. The software will be utilized for vehicle tracking and data storage related to building inspection and vehicle servicing. Commissioner Stuart Beckford calls 2025 an active year for the brigade, which escalated by the recent disaster in the final quarter. He says this was caused by significant increases in bushfires and calls for special services.
Last year, 2025, we would have responded to well over 20,000 incidents, emergency incidents, 21,699 to be exact. And this is a 13.7% increase over the previous year.
And it's time now for a break, but stay with us. More when we come back.
I'm Landy. Welcome to NLA Connect, the National Land Agency's customer engagement platform. NLA Connect is a simple, user-friendly platform designed to help you share your feedback, get support, and updates about land-related matters. Available 24/7, NLA Connect allows you to share suggestions, comments, and commendations, submit queries and report issues, attach files with your requests, track requests and get real-time status updates, connect with NLA client engagement officers, and provide feedback on the service received via the platform. We're making it easier for you to connect with us. You can access NLA Connect via our website, using the kiosk at any of our offices or scanning the QR code displayed at our locations. Need any help along the way? Check out our FAQs section. It has all the answers you need in one location. NLA Connect, your voice, our priority.
Get tiles and get creative with floors, walls, and all the space between. Our knowledgeable sales consultants are happy to help create your beautiful finish with the latest designs in first quality porcelain, wood look, vinyl, mosaics, natural stones, and countertops. At Creative, you will get every tile you need for your residential or commercial projects. Creative Building Finishes, your one-stop shop for everything tiles. Visit our showroom at 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get creative.
Welcome back to CVM News at noon. We are continuing the news. The Supreme Court has dismissed a legal challenge from a former Jamaica Teachers Association president who sought to overturn a 2023 vote on a government wage offer. According to attorney Caroline Hay, the case wasn't about the wage itself, but the process used by the union.
The case was about a challenge to the decision that was taken by the majority of the membership of the JTA by means of the method used to take the decision. The case complained that the meeting at which the decision was taken, it being held virtually, that it was not compliant with the language of the Articles of Association of the JTA as a company that said that meetings should be in person. But it did not take into account the fact that there was actually, prior to the meeting, a resolution to amend the articles.
Meanwhile, the attorney says the ruling also highlights the limits of court intervention in union affairs. Attorney Hayes says the Supreme Court reinforced the principle that unions can self-regulate even when some members disagree with the majority vote.
Courts generally, as a general principle of law, do not intervene or interfere in the inner workings of companies. If you are complaining about how a decision was taken, when it was taken, who took it, that is not generally an issue for a court. That is generally an issue for your articles.
Now, the deaths of two major figures in Jamaican music have sparked renewed discussion about the direction of reggae and how the genre is being passed on to a new generation. Our reporter Kevin Black examines that conversation.
As Reggae Month 2026 gets underway, the celebrations come at a time of reflection, following the passing of Stephen Catcore of Third World, and amid questions about whether reggae is being sustained for future generations. Our news team spoke to some pedestrians on the current state of the music.
Reggae music means resilience to me. It's the voice of a people will never give up their culture, give up their voice, no matter what faces them. It doesn't matter the issue of fame or what people say. Jamaicans will be Jamaicans. We will do what we do the way we do it. That is what reggae is.
I would say reggae is a lifestyle, the culture of Jamaica, you know?
To me, reggae music means everything. Breakfast, lunch and dinner.
Once you think of reggae music or once you think of Jamaica, you think vice versa. So you hear about reggae, you think about Jamaica.
It's a vibe in itself. It represents us, the people of Jamaica, and not just Jamaica, but worldwide. Like reggae is a thing that just showcases Jamaica.
Oh,
It is you I'm depending on, and I saw that first love that I've gave. Oh, yeah.
Reflecting on the life and impact of Stephen Kiatkoor, Professor Emerita Carolyn Cooper highlighted how his innovation helped expand the musical boundaries of reggae.
I think that the most exciting thing for me about Kiatkoor was his use of the cello in reggae. You know, we tend to think of reggae and classical music as completely different spheres, but Kat knew that the cello would have had a big impact in reggae, and he just brought it in. So for me, that is one of his visionary moves, recognizing the sophistication of reggae, that it could flex, it could adapt, it could accommodate all kinds of musical instruments.
As Jamaica reflects on the loss of several reggae pioneers, Professor Cooper says questions about the survival of the genre are not new and may be displaced.
Government support is not what is going to keep reggae alive. What is going to keep reggae alive is young artists who claim the genre as the medium through which they can express their consciousness of what is going on in the world, what is going on in Jamaica. We never needed government to create, because many times government institutions were hostile to the reggae artists.
Kevin Black reporting for CVM News.
To other news now, Antigua and Barbuda has announced an immigration amnesty to deal with labor shortages. This amnesty means the government is giving a temporary chance for people who are in Antigua without proper immigration status to register and legalize their status. Now, this has reopened a wider regional conversation about migration and work. With Jamaica facing its own workforce gaps, rising immigration and youth unemployment, the question is whether a similar approach could make sense here. We're joined now by economist Keenan Faulkner, who's on Zoom. Good afternoon, Keenan.
Hey, good afternoon, Amoy. How are you?
So Antigua says an immigration amnesty can help fix labor shortages. First of all, does Jamaica have the same problem? And if so, which sectors are hurting the most?
Well, Jamaica has right now what could be called a labor shortage generally, because we're operating in a tight labor environment, which means that most of the persons who are have the skills that are demanded currently in the labor market, for the most part, they're all employed. And the persons who remain unemployed, who are searching for jobs, are mostly frictionally moving between jobs. Some of the sectors where this is particularly acute would be in construction, and it's not unique to Jamaica. It's something that has occurred as part of the post-pandemic boom right across the Caribbean. So what Antigua has done is just to allow persons to stay beyond the time limit that they would have had initially. In Jamaica's case, however, we may not need to relax any sort of immigration restrictions or import, because in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, you're going to find that unemployment will now go back up. So in addition to visa restrictions from the US as well, that might end up creating a surplus of labor that might be available for the domestic economy.
So at this point in time, therefore, an immigration amnesty isn't necessary for Jamaica's economy whatsoever.
But if Jamaica decides to, say, ease those restrictions for persons to remain in the country, it wouldn't be because we necessarily need the labor right now at this point in time. It would be for other reasons. In some cases, it can also be humanitarian. But given that unemployment will rise in the short term, and there still remains a considerable number of persons who are outside the labor force, then that pool of labor becomes available to be utilized. However, the disadvantage is that it will take some time to adequately upskill and reskill persons to be able to fit skill sets where the shortages are currently being experienced.
So you mentioned something a while ago with regards to what now exists post-Melissa. Is it a case where before Melissa you had certain areas where there were more jobs than people, but right now it might be a case where we have more people than jobs in certain sectors?
So what happened prior to Melissa is that the unemployment rate went down to 3.3% at its lowest. And even then, it still hovered at around 3.5% in the latest figures. And that indicates that you have a significant number of persons, for the most part, who are being employed. But that varies by sector. So some sectors may experience a shortage. So as I said, construction is one of them. The retail sector is another one that does experience a shortage, but that mostly has something to do with wage levels and remuneration that is being offered. But where there are shortages, you call this situation effectively full employment. So the unemployment rate could not get much lower than 3.3, 3.5%. We're going to meander at this point in time. So if we want to continue to maintain full employment, then the government will now have to focus on filling those gaps, trying to find where the supply needs to be met. And that might involve creating a database to track where those sectors are that's happening so that the demand can be supplied.
So to examine what's going on in Antigua right now, could regularizing undocumented workers affect wages or job opportunities for citizens who are already living in the country?
I think it will have some impact because you're only now planning to have persons there for a very limited period of time. And, the labor market would have probably normalized after that. Now you're planning to have them for a longer period of time than initially forecast, and that will have some other effects as it pertains to wage adjustments. For example, you might find that employers may not be able to absorb that additional increase that they may have to give them by employing them longer. So those, I anticipate that will have some effect, at least for domestic employers, to adjust wage levels in the medium to long term.
So we see where Jamaica already struggles with youth unemployment and, as you mentioned earlier, certain skills gaps. Would this rise in unemployment since Melissa alone fix this issue, you think?
I don't think it will. That's something that has to be tackled very structurally and systemically and in a coordinated way over the next couple of years. So also bearing in mind the fact that many persons who may plan to migrate, for example, to the US, the significant number of them, the overwhelming majority, are probably young people. And migration acts as that sort of valve for youth unemployment and general unemployment as well. So when you have persons who may now be forced to stay because they had planned to leave, then that now results in having to sort of create your own employment, which is what has been happening for the last couple of years. The unemployment, or I should say the employment that has been created, is really tied to greater entrepreneurial endeavor and also the development of commercial real estate, which is why most of it has been in the services sector, the retail sector, and there's sort of, a burgeoning effect in those sectors for the last couple of years. So for the youth who may now find themselves in this position, it directly correlates with the increase in the formation and registration of businesses and business names, which has increased for the last couple of years. So youth unemployment at least is being tackled from an individual level, but from a more systemic level. If you want to be able to fully utilize those talents, then that requires greater training in the long term.
From a financial standpoint, would an amnesty bring in more tax revenue, specifically in Antigua's case, or would it put more extra pressure on public services, like health and housing?
But it's likely that you could have that additional pressure being offset by the increase in tax revenue. So those persons who are working for a longer period of time than they had initially planned to stay, that will now result in the accrual of greater tax revenue to the government, and that could be used to mitigate some of those social pressures. So it really depends on just that mix, and if the length of time that they are going to stay and the additional work that they will be paid to do is enough to counterbalance those increases in social pressures.
And as we're about to wrap, Keenan, we talk a lot about the quantity where employment is concerned, but I don't think we speak enough about the quality. Where do you think we are as a country where the quality of jobs are concerned? And what more, if anything, you think we need to be doing?
So I think where quality is concerned, I mean, you will find that in the official statistics, roughly 2 to 4% are underemployed. And we've spoken about underemployment for quite some time. Just looking at the data over the last couple of years, the largest addition to employment, as I said earlier, are in the services sector. So retail, shop, market, services, sales,